So this is a humorous look, and I'm not a terribly humorous person, but a humorous look at some of the titles people have given Joseph Smith to tell how he could have created the Book of Mormon on his own. For me, it's humorous as you'll see the list. So I want to start with a story. I start with a man named Abner Cole. Now, you may not know Abner Cole, but he is intricate into the beginnings of the church. So think of Palmyra. Palmyra has a cross street, the main cross street. It's church and main. Abner Cole has a big law office on that corner. He's a well-known man in Palmyra. He's been the justice of the peace. He has been a lawyer for years, but he's ambitious. He's thinking, man, I need to make more money. How can I do that? Well, right across the street and up a couple of buildings is E.B. Grandin. E.B. Grandin is the guy who's printing the Book of Mormon. So he thinks, I think I'll start a paper, and I'll sell the paper. It'll be a periodical paper, but I'll sell it, and we can make some more money doing that. So he goes and talks to E.B. Grandin. And Grandin says, oh, we've got a big project going on. The only time we have available for the press is in the evening, the nighttime, and on Sundays. So if you want to do it on those kind of times, you can, but that's all we got. Now, Abner Cole is in the building checking things out. He sees Book of Mormon pages all over inside there. And he goes, the people of Palmyra have kind of made a pledge that they won't buy the Book of Mormon when it's published. They don't want to help Joseph if they can help it, so they're not going to buy it. But he knows they're interested, so he has an idea. I can print a paper and start putting some of this Book of Mormon in it, and people will buy it from me and read it. And so he begins. Now this is in November of 1829. So the church hasn't been started yet. The book hasn't been published yet. It's being printed. So there's pages everywhere. In his first edition, so it's the Palmyra reflector. Out comes the first one, and there's a page of First Nephi in it. Pretty good. And people like that. They're buying it. He's making some money. Another week or so goes by, another one comes out with another page in First Nephi. He's excited. Things are going well here. This is what I want. Another week or so goes by, another one goes out with a page from Alma. People are buying. He is making money. Oops, but Hiram has now heard this is going on and comes and says, hey, listen, you've got to stop this. We have a copyright to this. And Brother Abner says, tough luck, buddy. I'm going to do what I want to do. So Hiram isn't sure what to do, so he has to send for Joseph. Joseph is down in Pennsylvania, down on the Hale farm. Down they go 100 miles, bring Joseph back. Joseph comes into the E.B. Grandin's. There's Abner Cole. Abner, you got to stop this. We have a copyright. If you don't stop, I'm going to have to sue you. Ooh, Abner doesn't want to stop. He's making money. Well, he can't see any way out of it, so he has to acquiesce, say, okay, I just won't do that anymore. He's mad, he's upset. So he decides he's going to do 6 articles on an expose, almost the first anti-Mormon expose in January, February, and March of 1830. The church hasn't begun yet. The book hasn't been published yet. But he's going to focus on the Book of Mormon, on the Smith family, and Joseph Smith in particular. Interesting. Now I want to read, it's the 3rd article of 6 that I'm going to read from. And I'm setting something up, and what I want you to do is, down the road, at the end of this thing, you're going to go, this is a very interesting situation, because he begins the naming conventions of Joseph Smith and how Joseph could actually write the Book of Mormon on his own, create the Book of Mormon out of his mind. There are some amazing words that you're going to really love. You'll see those down just a bit in this video. So let me get a book. Now this book is one of my favorites. I've shown it to you before, A New Witness for Christ in America. It has lots of good things in it. One of those is the articles by Abner Cole in his newspaper that talk about Joseph Smith. So I want to read this to you so you can kind of just get a blend of what's going on. I'm going to go slowly. There's some very interesting things here. Now, the point I would make, Abner is in Palmyra. He knows Joseph Smith. He's met him face to face. So it's not, again, the antis today, they don't know Joseph from Adam. They just make things up. Abner knew him. So how did he describe him? So let's just go slowly here. In his person, he's tall and slender. Okay, so this is what he sees Joseph looking like. Thin-favored, having but little expression of countenance other than that of being dull. So that's how he's identifying Joseph, with a dullness. His mental powers appear to be extremely limited. And from the small opportunities had at school, he's made little or no progress. So he's identifying Joseph as a sluggard, slow, dull. And he could have done it any way he wanted, but that's how the first identified Joseph Smith. And then he does something I've talked about before that is very touching to me because of the words in the Book of Mormon. He says, this is Abner again, it is asserted by one of his principal followers, Oliver Cowdery, that Joe, even to this day, is profoundly ignorant of the meaning of many of the words contained in the Book of Mormon. Now, he's thinking that it is showing that, again, he's a slow dullard. I don't think he knew a lot of the words in the Book of Mormon because he couldn't have. It's impossible. Interesting. That's my take on that thing. So, he and another man by the name of Alexander Campbell had the first kind of shoving out there of who Joseph is. Now, Alexander Campbell describes him as lazy, indolent, and stupid. That's his words. Now we're going to read a list from 1829 to today. These are the words that people have used to describe how Joseph could have done or created the Book of Mormon on his own. In my little humorous way, I think they're quite funny. So let's take one at a time. So we start with Alexander Campbell, lazy, indolent, and stupid. Okay, so that's kind of the benchmark. More are coming now, and you may not be aware of this, there are thousands of books that are against the church, thousands of pamphlets. It's amazing the amount of crap that's out there trying to tear us down. More words. He's a myth maker of prodigious proportions. Interesting. He had an adolescent mind. I'm not sure what that means, but that was quoted out of one of the books. He's in an autistic state, which allows him to do what he did. He has symptoms of the most prevalent mental disease, dementia proclivia, which means dementia or Alzheimer's. Kind of an interesting curve on that. He has a subconscious personality. I'm not sure what that means. He's a paranoid. That's how he could do it. He experienced auditory hallucinations and heard voices. Okay. He had a complex mental organization known as permanent personality. Don't know what that was, but that was identified at some point in time in the last 195 years as important. He was an epileptic and had epileptic fits, and that's how he was able to get all this information out. He had a pathological mental condition. Interesting. He was somewhat unbalanced. Interesting again. Now we're getting down to some meat of the matter here. He was a hypnotist, and he could hypnotize himself and his followers. So he could create the words of the Book of Mormon. He would believe it, and all his followers would believe it because they were hypnotized. We call that a stretch. He had a psychological complex that allowed him to lie and deceive. So he created the book in this complex psychological situation he was in. And he would deceive both himself and his followers to all believe that what was being done was really real. And the last, today's antis. He's a pretty smart guy. 100% different than back in Abner Cole's day, when he's lazy, indolent, and stupid. And the reason that's changed so much is the Book of Mormon has become so much more. It's not a little silly book. It's a deep, heavy, sweet book about Christ. All those that I read were books through the years, in the 1800s, early 1900s, etc. All saying, see, he could have done it. No asterisk in any of them. No doctor that ever looked at Joseph and said, he does have a condition that is X, Y, or Z. Joseph was inspired. He was a prophet of God. He was given the ability to translate the plates to create the Book of Mormon. Beautiful, 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 regardless of what antis may think or say. Thank you so much. See you soon.